Okay, here's a video hatch repair for the companionway sliding hatch on a Chrysler C22. This hatch, when I got it, the boat, the side wings that are molded on there to keep the hatch from flying off were worn completely away, and there was a crack down the center here where somebody must have stepped and cracked fiberglass. So I repaired the whole thing, ground it down in the center there, used my West System epoxy and fiberglass tape, and put 5 layers of tape in there, smoothed it out, sanded it down, painted the whole top with topside Rust-Oleum. This is how it's going to look when it's attached. Had all of this was worn down through the gel coat, so I epoxied that, leveled it out with thickened epoxy. Under here is some tape to keep the holes from filling up. I had to fill all those holes, drill them out bigger, that hold the teak rails down, and filled those with epoxy, drilled and tapped them for 1024 screws, stainless steel, in their pan head. That's going to hold those rails back. On this, I reinforced with mahogany and 4200 3M, holding it on, along with brass screws, 8 brass screws going through. I replaced, instead of trying to do a big fiberglass job, I replaced the little edges or wings or whatever you want to call them. That is polycarbonate that I cut. It's caulked in there with silicone, and on the side 6 stainless steel button head screws, 832, and they're tapped through, holding that all on. I'll show you the material I used. You can buy this online from a commercial supplier. It's a corner guard. It comes in various sizes, 90-degree polycarbonate, tough as can be, and it taps well. I roughed it up so the silicone would adhere to it somewhat and keep a good seal, and I think it's going to work out great. I had to cut mine down. You can buy it in 3/4 inch wings, 1 1/8 inch wings. This is some material that I happened to get my hands on, and for free from somebody, and it was leftover material, and they put it on a corner of a wall in a commercial building to keep carts from banging up the corners of the walls. And I think it comes in about a 4-foot length. These are about 28 inches, so you're probably going to need to buy 2 unless you can get it in a longer length. So that's how I repaired it, and I think it's going to work out good. Slides real nice now. Of course, I don't have the guides on there, but, and painted all of this with the topside paint to protect the epoxy from UV. And then down here, I had some couple holes. Used to be a knot meter and a depth finder, or depth sounder. The depth sounder, neither thing worked anymore, so I removed it all. I made this hole a little bigger and put a 4-inch deck plate in there, so you can get a little bit of air in there if you want. And it was an easy way to fill that hole, though I did have to make a little filler in here to take up the angle. The hole for the depth sounder was actually a tiny bit oversized, so I made a escutcheon plate out of Bakelite and installed that. And thanks to Billy and Pam out in Washington State, I took his idea, or their idea, and put in 2 deck plates, 6-inch deck plates in the back here, so you can access the broken stanchion base for the stern pulpit, stern push pit, and that's broken. I'm going to redo that with the fiberglass and epoxy. Here's where your backstay connections are, and the other stanchion base, and your stern light. So I'm going to fix that all up. Inside underneath was 4 pieces of plywood that they through bolted. Of course, that was all rotted. Mostly everything was loose, so I removed that. 3 of them just fell out. This one gave me a heck of a time. Took me about an hour with a homemade right angle chisel and a brass hammer to chisel that out of there, but I got it out, and I'm going to replace all of that with thick 3/8 aluminum bar stock that I have. I'm going to cut it to fit and drill and tap it, and then put some anti-corrosion glop on the threads, and then bolt it down with that, and that'll never have to be worked on again. But I'll always have access to that inner part of the transom. And that's about it for now. Hope this helps people with if they have a problem with their hatch. This mahogany actually turned out pretty good. Matches pretty close to the teak. I used the same finish, Cetal natural teak finish on it, and I didn't want to make it a super smooth job. I did have to plane it to size. Bought that mahogany at a sawmill out in the county, and it's not cheap, but it's cheaper than teak, and I think it's going to stand up just fine. Enjoy. Thank you.